Excuse me. Okay, so a very good morning to all of you watching this video. I am Anat Sharma from Olive Board, and I'm here with a live mint analysis that we do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. I bring in the important news articles from the newspaper. We try to discuss them in detail. We try to link it with the static portion. We try to also do a few MCQs. Right. I hope my audio and video is clear to all of you. Just let me know in the comment section whether everything is clear or not so that we can have the class in a smooth and continuous manner. All right. Chaliye. Also, if you want to connect with me beyond these sessions, then you can connect with me on Telegram. Mannat Educator is my Telegram handle. Just type Mannat Educator. You will have access to my Telegram account. All right. Chaliye. Apart from that, if you want to download this YouTube class PDF, you can do it from the Olive Board app. Just go to the courses section. There's going to be a separate YouTube class PDFs folder. You can download the PDF from here. All right. Now let's take a look at what we are going to cover today. Firstly, the first important news is going to be related to inflation, which is likely to fall to 1.5% in September. So we are seeing that inflation might fall to 1.5%, which is well below the band or the inflation targeting framework that we have in India, right? So the flexible inflation target framework, under that you have to maintain your inflation between 2 to 6%. Ideally, it should be 4%, but the range can be from 2 to 6%. This is according to the flexible inflation targeting framework. Good morning, Muskan. How are you? But we are seeing that it is likely to fall to 1.5% in September, which is below this range, right? So let's see what that news is. Then silver ETFs, exchange traded funds, fired up by scarcity. So now we are saying that silver, it is, the prices of silver, prices of gold, so we know they are skyrocketing. Now silver ke prices are also increasing. Prices of silver are also increasing because of scarcity. Scarce है ये, कम है ये, है ना, इसकी supply कम हो रही है, जिसकी वजह से the demand is high, and because of which the prices are also increasing. Then third important news is Trump excluded generic from big pharma tariff plan. So we were discussing that Trump is putting up a lot of tariffs on pharmaceutical products, but we distinguished between two kinds of products. One is generic drugs, and the other one is your patented drugs, right? We talked about these two. We saw the difference between the two in the previous, in one of the Livemint analysis, if you were following. Okay, fine. So here, Trump has excluded the generic drugs from this tariff plan, and maximum exports that we do to the US are of generic drugs. So this is kind of a relief for us, है ना? Good morning, John. अच्छा, मुस्कान is saying sick but fine. How about you? हाँ, अभी तो viral is going on, I think, right? That is why everybody is sick, है ना? चलो, टैरिफ टू क्रॉस सब्सिडी, गवर्नमेंट प्लान्स बिग पावर रिफॉर्म पुश. तो यहाँ पे वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट क्रॉस subsidy. We are going to understand what this cross subsidy means. We are going to understand the meaning of this and how government is planning big power reforms, electricity reforms. We're going to discuss about that. Then there are certain problems related to UPI AutoPay facility. UPI AutoPay facility mein there are certain problems. We are going to discuss about that. A few fact-based news and then MCQ practice at the end. Okay? Chalo, next. Let's start off with discussion of these news one by one. So first important news is inflation likely fell to 1.5% in September. ठीक है? So inflation, what does inflation mean? Which is a rise in the general price level. है ना? A rise in the general price level. Here I'm giving you a homework. You're going to check out the types of inflation, the causes of inflation. Okay? You're going to check this out. This is going to be your homework. Now, what is the news that India's retail inflation has cooled to 1.5% in September 25. This is according to a poll of 19 economists, down from 2.1% in August. Okay? The reason is firstly the statistical effect of favorable base, or you can say the base effect, कि बिकॉज पहला बेस जो था पिछले साल का, जो परसेंटेज ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन है वो बहुत ज़्यादा थी, तो एज कम्पेयर टू अगर हम इससे कंपेयर करें तो इस बार बहुत ज़्यादा कम आ रही है, तो एक तो हो गया बिकॉज ऑफ अ फेवरेबल बेस, दैट मीन्स बेस इफेक्ट. सेकेंड, बिकॉज फूड प्राइसेस आर ऑल्सो ईजिंग, वी हैड अ गुड मॉनसून दिस ईयर, है ना. देन अ पार्शियल इम्पैक्ट ऑफ जीएसटी ऑल्सो, गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टैक्स कट्स लेकर आए हैं, जीएसटी कट्स लेकर आए, विच इज बूस्टिंग कंजम्पशन, विच इज बूस्टिंग डिमांड, है ना. तो बिकॉज ऑफ दीज कट्स ऑल्सो इन्फ्लेशन इज रिड्यूसिंग. ठीक है. दिस वुड बी द लोएस्ट रिटेल इन्फ्लेशन सिंस जून 2017 which stood at 1.46%. So 1.46% जून 2017 में हुई थी, and now we are seeing that इस बार it will be less than 1.46 also. ठीक है. Then it would also mark the second instance of inflation dropping below RBI's 2 to 6% range. Fine. अभी official data आएगा, so let's see what does that say. Food inflation has surged to 9.2% compared to 5.7% in August 24 due to favorable base effect. ठीक है. The analysts expect this downward trend in food inflation to continue to October 25 also, to 10 point, you know, further it will fall to 10.9% on a year on year base, on a year on year prices. There are many economists. Aditya Vyas said that there is because of a base effect. है ना. The declining prices because of base effect. Then Abhishek Upadhyay said GST cuts, because of that we are seeing a favorable decrease in the price level. Then gold prices rose sharply in rupee terms, which may limit the extent of inflation decline. So he said ki gold prices are skyrocketing, which might, you know, uh, impact the inflation dynamics. And core CPI, which excludes volatile items like food and fuel, might still experience price pressures. So यहाँ पे you need to understand the difference between core inflation and headline inflation. Headline inflation is the overall inflation of all kinds of products, whether it's food, whether it's fuel, whether it's automobiles, anything. Core inflation is when you exclude the volatile items like food and fuel. Then you get the actual scenario of inflation. ठीक है? Economists estimate that average inflation for the second quarter will be around 1.7%. ठीक है. RBI's medium term target for inflation remains 4%. We know about 2 to 6% band. ठीक है. Next news, silver ETFs fired up by scarcity and festivals. ठीक है. दूसरा है silver to stay hot as supply thins amid buyer frenzy. So these are the two news articles which are similar. 2 days of newspaper, उसमें we had similar articles. Now what they are saying is that the demand for these silver exchange traded funds has increased a lot, with a record 10 to 12% premium to spot prices. That means the prices of these ETFs has increased a lot. ठीक है. एंड देर आर रीजंस, मे बी बिकॉज ऑफ फेस्टिव बाइंग. ठीक है. फेस्टिव वाला टाइम चल रहा है, तो फेस्टिव बाइंग ज्यादा है, इंडस्ट्रियल यूजेज ज्यादा है ऑफ सिल्वर. इन्वेस्टर फोमो, फियर ऑफ मिसिंग आउट. इन्वेस्टर फोमो कि वी आल्सो वांट टू इन्वेस्ट इन समथिंग, है ना. बिकॉज ऑफ टाइटर silver supply, so suppliers are also short. India is a net importer of silver, and whenever there is a supply shortage, silver ETFs usually trade at a 0.5 to 1% premium. ठीक है. Satish Dondapati, fund manager at Kotak Mahindra, said that the large-scale multi-asset scheme purchases by mutual funds caused premiums to narrow slightly later in the day. Premiums remained elevated throughout. है ना. Price of silver saw a sharp rise, touching 1,50,400 per kg compared to 87,578 per kg on 1st January 2025. So we see that silver ke prices are also increasing. Premium trend may continue in the short term. Bullion dealers face difficulty sourcing metal due to limited physical availability. So there is scarcity, tight supplies, industrial demand is high, festive momentum is also good. ठीक है. If I talk about global demand for silver, that has also surged due to rising industrial use, festive buying, strong investor interest. Supply remains tight. There is a demand supply mismatch which might continue, and it might keep the prices high. About 75% of world's silver output is produced as a byproduct of mining zinc, copper, and gold. So you should know such kind of details. 75% of the world's silver output is produced by byproduct. So when you mine zinc, when you mine copper, when you mine gold, तब as a byproduct silver निकलता है. Silver Institute reported that annual mine output fell from 900 million ounces in 2016 to 781 million ounces. ठीक है, recycling and inventory drawdowns cannot offset this gap, leading to chronic supply shortages. तो silver का supply shortages हैं. Demand is being driven by solar panels. अच्छा, अब if I talk about the demand of silver, जैसे industrial use किस में, जैसे solar panels, EVs, electronics, jewelry में use होता है. Plus India is also a major consumer of silver. Silver prices rose nearly 42% in 24, which is the biggest annual rallies. Right? New mining project, they take years to develop, so supply crunch might persist. Okay, so I hope this news related to silver is clear. Trump excludes generics from big pharma tariff plan. है ना? So Trump has announced that it will not impose tariffs on generic drugs, and we export maximum generic drugs only to the US. So that has actually created a relief for us Indians. है ना? Administration had been considering tariffs under Section 232 of Trade Expansion Act of 1962, a law used to address issues affecting national security. ठीक है? In October, President Donald Trump had indicated that he might impose 100% tariffs on, name brand drugs, but he did not mention the generics at that time, and that is why now we have clarity कि generic drugs पे नहीं लगेंगे. ठीक है, पहले we did not have this clarity, right? Trump's domestic policy council and healthcare advisors such as Theo Merkel and Senator Pat Toomey, they have expressed concerns that tariffs on generics could lead to price increases and drug shortages. Ki if we increase the price on these generics, it lead to drug shortages, and that is why on generic drugs, Trump has not put in these tariffs. Fine, okay. ठीक है, so other economic tools, the US administration it is exploring other economic tools kaise they can make these generics tariff free also. That means what you have to understand is that generic drugs pe now there are no tariffs. Fine. Next is the tariff to cross subsidy. Government plans big power reform push. अब यहाँ पे you need to understand the meaning of cross subsidy. What is the meaning of cross subsidy? See, there is a set of consumers. ठीक है, A set of consumers and B set of consumers. Now, if you want to provide electricity or if you want to provide power at a lower price to this A set of consumers, ठीक है, आप क्या चाहते हैं कि आप कम प्राइस पे, बहुत ही कम प्राइस पे इन ए सेट ऑफ कंज्यूमर्स को या फिर सब्सिडाइज्ड रेट पे पावर प्रोवाइड करना चाहते हैं टू दिस ए सेट ऑफ कंज्यूमर्स, राइट? तो आप क्या करते हैं, तो टू ऑफसेट दिस आप किससे हाई प्राइस चार्ज करते हैं? बी सेट ऑफ कंज्यूमर से. So this is what is known as cross subsidy. You are charging a higher price from another set of consumers and a lower price from another set of consumers to so this is known as cross subsidy to compensate for any kind of loss. ठीक है? So therefore power ministry has proposed a slew of reforms for the power sector. ठीक है? A major proposal is to give more teeth to state electricity regulatory commissions to fix tariffs on their own and end existing cross subsidies. So what is going to be a benefit of these reforms? That जो state electricity regulatory commissions हैं, state electricity regulatory commissions हैं, they are going to fix the tariffs on their own. Government won't impose it. एंड जो क्रॉस सब्सिडीज है उससे भी जाने दे सकते हैं. यू डोंट नीड टू क्रॉस सब्सिडाइज, अपने आप सबको एट अ लो रेट ऑफ प्राइस आप दे सकते हो. जरूरी नहीं है कि किसी एक सेट ऑफ कंज्यूमर के ग्रुप्स को हमें ज्यादा प्राइस चार्ज करना है. ठीक है, सो व्हाई वाज दैट हैपनिंग? बिकॉज आप जब बहुत ज्यादा प्राइस चार्ज कर रहे थे उस वजह से लॉसेस बहुत हो रहे थे डिस्कॉम्स को भी, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनीज को भी. So the proposal aims to plug mounting losses in the power sector and boost economic growth. ठीक है, so this draft amendment bill of 2025. Ministry circulated this draft electricity amendment bill 2025 on Thursday. ठीक है, so अभी feedback मिलेगा. Let's see what are going to be the details. अब ये cross subsidy mechanism I've already explained you. that power distribution firms, they impose tariffs to the commissions for a fiscal year. Cross subsidy is a mechanism where some consumers, industrial or commercial users, they pay higher electricity tariffs. तो आप industrial users से high tariffs charge करते हैं to cover the cost of providing subsidized power to other consumers like households and farmers. Households and farmers को आप कम रेट पे प्रोवाइड कर रहे हो और उनको compensate कर रहे हो आप industry and commercial users से. इसका काफी ज्यादा फाइनेंशियल इम्पैक्ट रहता है. द क्रॉस सब्सिडी मैकेनिज्म हैज हर्ट competitiveness and economic growth, and that is why we are trying to reduce this cross subsidy mechanism. ठीक है, we are going to eliminate this. It is suggested that cross subsidy with respect to manufacturing enterprises, railways, metro railways, it will be fully eliminated within the 5 years. Fine. And this amendment is going to empower the appropriate commissions to act suo motu, ensuring timely tariff determination, enhancing accountability, making electricity available. Plus, we want to also promote private sector participation as well. Okay? So, I hope this concept of cross subsidy is clear to all of you. Right? Okay? Next news we have that UPI AutoPay's endless woes forcing an industry rethink. That means we're talking about here UPI's ऑटो पे फैसिलिटी की काफ़ी ज़्यादा ये फेल हो रही हैं ये वाली ट्रांजैक्शंस. ठीक है, काफ़ी ज़्यादा फेल हो रही है, तो यहाँ पे कह रहे हैं कि भाई इसको देखो, दिस इज नॉट वर्किंग प्रॉपरली. सो 36% ऑफ UPI ऑटो पे ट्रांजैक्शंस फेल्ड इन अगस्त, इंडिकेटिंग अ हर्डल फॉर स्टार्टअप्स रिलाइंग ऑन रेकरिंग पेमेंट्स. देखो रेकरिंग पेमेंट्स के लिए, रेकरिंग पेमेंट्स मान लो आपने कोई ईएमआई ली है, तो ईएमआई आपने रेगुलर जो शेड्यूल्ड है उसकी पेमेंट्स यू नो फेल हो रही हैं, है ना. इस टाइप का एग्जांपल जो रेकरिंग पेमेंट्स, हमने बार बार किसी आपने म्यूचुअल फंड को खरीदा है तो उसमें आपने रेगुलर पेमेंट्स डालनी है, तो वो ऑटो पे फैसिलिटी जो है वो ढंग से नहीं चल रही है फॉर रेकरिंग पेमेंट्स, which is creating a hurdle for the startups. Data from NPCI shows 55 to 90% of auto mandated payments across various segments failed on auto pay, UPI auto pay. ठीक है, in August 2.13 billion UPI auto pay transactions were handled compared to 2.23 billion in July. So we saw a slight decline in that. There's a high failure rate. Why? Because of technical factors like system or network issue, errors in bank accounts, incorrect beneficiary details. These are the reasons why we are having failures, right? So एरर्स इन बैंक अकाउंट्स, टेक्निकल फैक्टर्स हैं, ठीक है, नेटवर्क इशू हो गया, एरर हो गया बैंक अकाउंट में, इनकरेक्ट बेनिफिशियरी डिटेल्स. प्लस अभी तो डेबिट एंड क्रेडिट कार्ड्स दे आर बिकमिंग मोर प्रोमिनेंट एंड इजीली एक्सेसिबल. इजी हो रहा है रेकरिंग पेमेंट्स के लिए. What are the factors that contribute to transaction failure? There are insufficient funds, incorrect beneficiary details, technical declines, आप कह सकते हैं, issues related to switching off primary UPI apps or handling various payment of different accounts. ठीक है, failures are causing setbacks for the startups also, है ना. Because these startups, they rely on recurring payments, they on these business models like subscription services, media streaming, social media, software consulting scripts. So this is creating a hurdle. So this is forcing an industry rethink on the features of architecture and usability. So now I'm giving you homework here. You should think of a potential solution to this problem. What can be a solution to this problem? You have to think about that. Okay, so these were the main news articles. Apart from that, we have a few fact-based news. Let's take a look at that. India to ease US trade barrier pressure for medical devices. So India is developing a plan to help domestic medical device manufacturers cope with US tariffs and regulatory challenges. See, on medical devices also there have been tariffs. So to cope up with these tariffs, we we are bringing in a plan to these medical device manufacturers. This part of Department of Pharmaceuticals. The plan includes providing subsidies for small and medium enterprises. So subsidies will be provided to SMEs. Secondly, mutual recognition agreements will be signed with US Food and Drug Administration to facilitate acceptance of Indian products. So we are going to get into agreements with the US. Expansion of accredited testing labs. We're going to expand these testing labs. We're going to set up a dedicated export facilitation desk for them. ठीक है, we are going to the goal is basically to make these Indian medical devices meet these stringent US quality standards. What are the current challenges Indian exporters face? Significant trade barriers like FDA registration fees, product approval costs, है ना. Then The cost of testing and compliance for FDA certification is very high for Indian clinical device manufacturers, making US market entry financially burdensome. Okay. Now, what are the proposed measures? Mutually beneficial agreement we are going to sign. Okay, we are going to address these market access barriers. We are going to, if you talk about India's medical device export value to the US, it is at $12 billion. Goal is to increase it to $50 billion by 2030. Trade deficit continues to favor US as India imports more devices than it exports. है ना? ठीक है? So basically, we want to reduce our dependency on medical device imports. That is why we are focusing on domestic manufacturing. We need to cut the compliance tariff. We need to ensure India's competitiveness. Okay. So the new policy, it will focus on ease of doing business, and it is going to promote and strengthen India-US cooperation as well. ठीक है. दूसरी न्यूज है that India aims to double trade with UK. तो यहाँ पे there's another article. If you see here, India aims to double trade with UK. ठीक है. So let's read about this. So India aims to double its bilateral trade with United Kingdom to $112 billion by 2030. Remember this target. ठीक है. You have to remember this target of $112 billion by 2030. This was announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during the event attended by UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. ठीक है. Currently it is at $56 billion, and by 2030 we want to double it to $112 billion. Fine. So we also know that India UK free trade agreement has been signed recently. Please read about this trade agreement. I have taken a separate session on YouTube related to all kinds of trade agreements, the important trade agreements that have happened. है ना? In this year, so you can check that YouTube video on Olive Board YouTube channel. FTA is expected to lower tariffs, open markets, boost trade in goods and services. Right, what are the key focus areas? Artificial intelligence, semiconductors, cybersecurity, quantum technology, electric vehicles, clean energy, and space technology. Right, these are the areas where cooperation is going to happen. Fine. India received 653 million pounds, around 6530 crore investment pledged from British companies. The aim is to build a stronger industrial, digital, and technology collaboration. Okay, so this is a table that I've drawn for you. This is important from your exam point of view. Remember this. India's medical device exports to US as of 2025, $12 billion. Okay, remember these. Target export value by 2030 is $50 billion. So currently $12 billion, target is $50 billion. Medical device basic testing cost is around $30,000. Complex testing cost is $85,560. You don't need to get into these वैसे, है ना? This is just to get you an idea. India's UK bilateral trade is $56 billion as of now, and our target by 2030 is $112 billion. And how much has UK investment pledged? 653 million pounds. Okay, fine. So these are the details that you have to remember. Next important news is that AI compute capacity to catalyze innovation. That means we are talking about the role of artificial intelligence to catalyze innovation. So, India's mission is to build a high performance computing capacity to ensure every innovator and startup has access to new technologies at a low cost. What is the goal? That AI should be available for every district. Benefits of AI should be available to every district and in every language. ठीक है. So what approach do we have to follow? Equitable access, population scale, and responsible deployment. We have to develop AI models in indigenous languages. ठीक है. India's DPI and its positive impact are touted as a laboratory of the future, and it is very important for the global south. It is very important for the startup ecosystem, because we have the third largest unicorns in the world, right? So if you talk about India's DPI, it is known as India Stack, which includes UPI, Aadhaar enabled payment system, Bharat Bill payment system, DigiLocker, ONDC, Open Credit Enablement Network. इस सबको क्या बोल दिया हमने? India Stack. This is our DPI. ठीक है. Digital Public Infrastructure. The use of technology in digital infrastructure is not merely for growth numbers but for global good, welfare, health, human progress. If I talk about international collaboration and future plans, we are signing digital partnerships. We are trying to enhance our global digital partnerships. with emphasis on UK India FinTech corridor. And a financial integration will be achieved through partnerships with countries benefiting from these free trade agreements. है ना? The minister announced that India will host an AI Impact Summit next year. This e-Aadhaar open source identity platform, which is developed in India, is currently being used by more than 25 countries. Okay? So these were your important news articles. Not many, a few of them. Okay? Usually on Monday we have a few articles to discuss because Saturday ko, you get very few news, and Saturday and Sunday ko, so we don't have any news only, right? I hope these things are clear to all of you. Let's do a few MCQs and then we are going to end the session here. Fine. First question: which of the following measures is not part of India's plan to ease US trade barriers for medical devices? First, the introduction of subsidies for SMEs to reduce compliance costs, mutual recognition agreements with US FDA, setting up a dedicated export facilitation desk, increase in import tariffs on US medical devices, expansion of accredited testing labs. Not part of India's plan to ease US trade barriers for medical devices. What is the answer to the first question? Quickly, I want answers in the comment section. Muskan has given me first question D as the answer. Anybody else who would want to answer? The correct answer is D. Increase in import tariffs on US medical devices. This is not part of the plan to ease US trade barriers, right? Second question. According to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, what is India's target for bilateral trade with UK by 2030? Again, very easy. Currently कितना है? And basically हमें double करना है. So what is the answer to this question? $56 billion, $75 billion, $90 billion, $100 billion, or 122 billion dollars. Second question. I've got E as the answer, which is okay, 122, 112 होना चाहिए था ये, है ना? It should be $112 billion, है ना? तो E is supposed to be the answer, $112 billion, है ना? 122 हो गया, 112 होना चाहिए ये, right? ठीक है? Hello. Which of the following components is not as part of India's comprehensive digital stack (DPI)? Uh, UPI OCEN, Open Credit Enablement Network, GST network, ONDC, or Aadhaar enabled payment system. Again, very easy question. हाँ, 112. Yes, Anurag, $112 billion. John says third, C. Anybody else? Third question, Anurag, Muskan. What is the answer for the third question? Not a part of India's comprehensive digital stack. Absolutely correct. C, GST and Baki sub are part of the DPI, right? Fourth question. Which of the following is cited in the article as the single highest rated factor contributing to the high failure rate of UPI AutoPay transactions? First, users failing to input their correct personal identification number, insufficient funds in bank accounts, the ease of use and widespread acceptance of debit and credit cards for subscriptions, NPCI mandating overly strict rules for recurring payments, incorrect beneficiary details and technical declines, system or network or bank account issues. Fourth question. Absolutely correct. E. Incorrect beneficiary details, technical declines like system or network failure or bank account issues. है ना? Next question. Fifth question. What was the key decision made by Trump administration regarding pharmaceutical tariffs? To impose 100% tariffs on both branded as well as generic drugs, to impose tariffs only on antibiotics and vaccines, to exclude generic drugs from proposed pharmaceutical tariff plan, to apply tariffs only on pharmaceutical ingredients, to suspend all tariff plans indefinitely. Very easy question again. We made a distinction between generic drugs and branded drugs. है ना? What is the answer? C, absolutely correct. To exclude these generic drugs from proposed pharmaceutical tariff plan. Right. As per Silver Institute, what is the projected global silver supply for 25? 900 million ounces, 1031 million ounces, 781 million ounces, 1150 million ounces, or 1200 million ounces? Global silver supply. Sixth question A. John says B. The correct answer is B. 1031 million ounces. ठीक है, B is the correct answer. Yes, Anurag, absolutely correct. At what premium range did silver ETFs open on Thursday? 2 to 3%, 5 to 6, 8 to 9, 10 to 12, or 15 to 20%? John says D. Anybody else? Anurag, what about you? John, what about you? Acha, John has given me the answer. Muskan, what about you? Correct answer is D, 10 to 12%. Very good. Next question. What was India's retail inflation projected to fall, in September? According to Mint poll, 2.1, 1.8, 1.5, 1.3, 1.46%. Again, easy question. We saw that, our band is 2 to 6%, है ना, जिसमें ideally it should be 4%, है ना. So, what is the retail inflation projected to fall? हाँ, absolutely correct. 1.5%. Very good. ठीक है. Then, ninth question, according to the report, when was the last time India recorded such low inflation before September 25? June 2018, 17, March 19, May 20, or December 2016? 1.46% record की थी हमने, right? In which year? Ninth question, absolutely correct, in June 2017. Very good. Which of the following factors contributed to the fall in retail inflation in September 2025? What was the reason? Increase in fuel prices, fall in food prices and favorable base effect, rise in global commodity prices, increase in import duty on gold, hike in interest rates. 10th question. Reasons for fall in retail inflation. 10th question. B. The correct answer is B. Fall in food prices and favorable base effect. Very good. 11th question. Who among the following economists mentioned that the moderation in inflation was due to favorable base effect and decline in food prices? Arvind Subramaniam, Raghuram Rajan, Aditya Vyas, Abhishek Upadhyay, or Shaktikanta Das? We saw different economists. They gave, their reasons. So who said that, the decline in inflation is due to a favorable base effect? Which economist? 11th Muskan is saying C. हाँ, 10th का अनुराग, right, it was B, है ना. अभी 11th का Muskan is saying C. Anybody else? Anurag, John, would you like to answer? The correct answer is C. Aditya Vyas. Absolutely correct, Muskan. Very good. 12th question. According to the article, what is Reserve Bank of India's medium term target for inflation? 2%, 4%, 6%, 3%, or 5%? Medium term inflation targeting framework. John has given me B as the answer. Muskan says B. What about you, Anurag? B, which is absolutely correct, 4%. This is the medium term target, and overall it can lie between 2 to 6%. है ना? ठीक है? Next question. What is the expected average inflation rate for the second quarter of 25 as projected by economists? 1.3%, 1.5%, 1.7%, 1.8%, or 2%? Hanji, what is the answer? Expected average inflation rate for the second quarter of 2025. 13th question. John has given me B as the answer. Anybody else? Anurag says B. The correct answer is not B, but see, this for the second quarter of 2025. तो उसमें projected था 1.7%. ठीक है? Fine. So that is all from my side, everyone. If you guys want to connect with me beyond these sessions, you can connect with me on Telegram. Mannat Educator is my Telegram handle. Just type Mannat Educator and you will have access to my Telegram handle. ठीक है? If there's any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Otherwise, I'm going to end the session over here. Thank you so much, everyone. Keep reading the newspaper on your own as well. Take care. I wish you all the best. Keep studying, and your exam is approaching. So stay calm and prepare for it accordingly. Okay? If there's anything that you want to ask, you can ask me in the comment section. Otherwise, let's end the session here. All right. Okay, John, Gabbar, Muskan. Have a good day, all of you. See you all in my next one. Take care. Okay. Bye bye. Okay, Anurag. Have a good day, Muskan. Bye bye.